Hey guys, how are you? It's Dan Zitofsky with Pass It to Prosperous podcast. It's so great to be on here with you guys again. Once again, I always love when I have anybody on the show. My co-host is not with me today, but I couldn't wait any longer. I had to get my special guest on the show today. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Jennifer Steward. She is the owner of two amazing companies, and I've watched Jennifer grow through this industry to become a rock star. And now there's literally like a waiting list to get on with her to do any business. She owns two companies. Phoenix Phone Agency, you might have seen her. She runs an amazing inside sales call agency, setting up sales calls for, I think she's got over 100 employees that she works, trains, sets up to work for some high level companies, doing amazing lead gen, sales calls, all those things. She also started Powerful Property Solutions. She's an amazing wholesaler. She has dispositions and acquisitions in place. She put her own systems in place. We'll talk a little bit about that. And she's done that, and she's going to be taking this nationwide in the hopefully next 6 months to a year. We're going to see her balloon nationwide. I had Jen on my show, on my mastermind group a couple of weeks ago. And literally when somebody comes to my mastermind group, I see a lot of hype and interest in the first couple of days. I got two messages where people like, how can I work with Jen? This is amazing. I've watched a video. One person said, I've watched the training over and over again 4 times, which is unreal that they've watched that 4 times since that. So I knew I wanted to get Jen on the show. I knew we had to do this. We're both busy, but I was like, Jen's heading out to an event today to meet with some high level people at Note Expo. Somebody I love, Eddie Speed, Jeff Watson will be there. We're in the same network. And when you roll in the same network, it's pretty cool to see somebody come through the ranks and kind of move up. And I wish I was there to see her in person as well. But once again, Pass It to Prosperous. If you like what we're doing, give us 5-star. Share this with a friend. Share this with somebody you think it could help. I do not have any. We're not in this business to make money on the podcast right now. We don't have any advertisers. I can't say I won't do that in the future, but my plan is never to do advertising on the show, to just be pure content, to bring out what I do in my business. And more importantly, this is more about mindset, not how to do the business, but mindset. And I tell you what, Jen and I got on this call, pre-podcast call. It's supposed to be a 5-minute call. We're 40 minutes into it because both of us can't shut up about mindset. We love it. We absolutely love it. So thanks so much for being on, Jen. I appreciate it. It's an honor to have you, and it's a blessing. And I know we got you up early in the morning, but thanks for being on here.
Dan, thank you. It's an honor to be here. And you're right. I did very much enjoy that conversation about mindset, because it's what changes your whole life, what you feel like you're capable of, and your why. Why do you get out of bed, and how do you implement things in your day? It all comes down to your mindset.
Well, that's awesome. Well, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, because you've taken what I think I've taken over 31 years, maybe at a slow pace, and you've been on a VIP fast lane. And when I first started watching you on social media, it might have been maybe a year ago. Maybe about a year ago. It's not really that long ago. And I saw you, and you were this great employee personality. You're working hard, tirelessly. And I was like, wow, she is. And I think I even tried to hire you one time. You're like, I'm so busy working for other people, I can't do it. And you were so ethical and moral. Like, you wouldn't take on other people. You were like, I work for this person, and that's it. And then to the point of where you're at now, where you're business owner of 2 businesses, you didn't just open a business. Like, you've projected this business to where most people would dream to have a business, and you're even going further. How'd you get from being that employee mindset? What made you go from that employee mindset to being this amazing vision? I call it a visionary, not just because you could open a business, but I think you're a visionary. And I think if people aren't following you, they're crazy they'll eventually want to work with you, but they should at least follow you, because you're as real as they come. You really are. You're as real as they come. How'd you go from that point A to point Z, I think?
Thanks for asking that question. That's a very insightful question. So I find it very gracious that you said I was kind of like on a fast VIP track, because whenever I was 15 years old, which was 21 years ago, I read this little book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I know everyone listening to this knows what that is, right? So that was the year 2000. And so I was reading that, and I knew that the way the world had been set up was not for someone like me, because I really value my freedom, right? So I took a long time to get where I was wanting to get to by building out my knowledge base. And so whenever I had a friend ask me 6 years ago, right, I had just graduated college. It took me a while to graduate college because I was working part-time. And as you know, I had my son and then decided I really needed to change my life. So I finished college at age 30 and I get out and I have my second son. And I did, I graduated summa cum laude, 7 months pregnant with my second son, with a science degree in psychology. And so I'm walking across stage with this big belly, right? And all these medals and all that. But then I have to get out and get a job, right? Like, I mean, I know I want to do what Robert Kiyosaki says, but you have to start with, you know, a good skill set and or capital, right? And I had neither. I had a degree, but I really didn't have a valuable skill set, at least not that I knew of, right? So I had a friend, she said, you know, hey, Jen, I'm working for this real estate investor and I want you to come, and I know you're extremely good at being able to determine people's motivations. She had known me, you know, since I was quite young. We're the same age. She said, I need someone who can get on the phone with these people and determine whether or not they want to sell their property. You know what she wanted to pay me for that job, Dan, was $5 an hour, because that's what they were paying their VAs overseas.
Oh my Lord.
And okay, this is crazy, but I took the job because I saw the potential in learning what she was saying that I would be good at. And I thought, well, if I do get good at this for $5 an hour, then I can eventually become the investor, right? If I can figure out if people want to sell and convince them to sell their property to me at a discount, that's the hard part. Everything else is easy after that. So I became that employee as a necessity to learn the skill that I needed to learn to become as free as I'd tried to be since I had first read that book in the year 2000. So what Robert Kiyosaki doesn't tell you is you probably will have to get a job first, unless you are, you know, a trust fund kid or something like that. And that's what my dad told me when I first read the book. But what it takes is some serious planning to transition from being an employee to being a true business owner. And then, you know, we've all seen the cash flow quadrant and everything like that. So I'm not in the I space yet. I'm not going to pretend I'm in the I space. Like we talked about ego. I'm not in the I space. I'm not lending my money out as a passive investor like some of the people who are investing in my company to do transactional lending, etc. Those people are in the I space, okay? And I look forward to being there in my golden years. But right now, I have no shame in saying I'm in the hustle space, you know? I still have most of the pigment of my hair, although a lot of it is now hair dye.
See,
When
guys,
my hair's looking like yours, Dan, I'm ready to be in the I space, you know, lending out that passive money for nice returns to people who are where I'm at now, hopefully that I can trust, bring in those good deals. So right now I'm the one bringing the good deals, Lord willing. That's my job every day. So that's how I transitioned, Dan. That's a plan that I had since I was 15 years old. And I knew that I needed the skill set to be able to get the sales to get to a place where I could become a business owner, right?
That's awesome.
So it was definitely a long-term plan. And I had to do my time in the employee space. That's all there is to it. You know, like, have you ever seen the movie Shawshank Redemption?
Oh, of course. Okay. I love that movie.
Yeah. And Andy puts in his time and he bides his time. And so that was me. I felt like Andy in Shawshank Redemption. I knew I was going to get out, but every day I was digging that tunnel a little bit more, staying up late, working those long hours that you notice, because I'm digging that tunnel to get out.
I think that's great that you just said that. So many people in this industry, I mean, I don't know if it's put out because it's every industry. It's right. Get rich quick, lose weight, lose all the weight. I'll tell you, I'm right now while you're listening to the show, I'm in my 40s, around 49 still. I don't know how many years people will be listening to it, but right now, hopefully 40 years and they hear I'm 49. But I hear it like get rich quick, lose weight, you know, lose all. It took me 49 years to get unhealthy, lose all the weight right away. And now I lost it, but it's not, everybody wants this snap your finger, easy process. And I feel like social media takes advantage of people, right? They tell you how easy it is.
Yes.
They don't tell you. And I always say, I'm willing to do the work others aren't willing to do now to live the life others wish they could live later, right?
That's
so
right.
People see, and you had mentioned, right, one of the things that you liked about what I guess what attracted you to me, and in a way of business wise, right? What attracted you to me is you saw the life I was living, right? I didn't put out pictures of my cars, and I have them. I didn't put out pictures of my boats. I mean, sometimes we're on the boat and you'll see it. I didn't put out pictures of my watches. I wear it because I like it, but really what I put out pictures, and I talked about this with my marketing team, and they're like, you got to put some of that out there. And I'm like, it's not me. What's me and what I'll brag on is the time I have, the experiences I have with my family, the experiences I have with my friends. My friends don't really care. I mean, they're happy for me that I've driven a Lamborghini, right? They're happy with me that I've driven a Maserati. They're happy with me I had a Bentley. They don't, but that's not what they care about. When I go to we go to an event and we get out of our car and we park the car, we walk inside to a restaurant, we get together for dinner. They're not talking about the car. They're talking about what's going on in our lives, right? So
that's right.
We're at a deeper level, and right. So I believe that people aren't willing to do what it takes to get there. They don't see the grind and the hustle that we take to get there over the years. And I've watched you do it. I mean, I've watched you grind, but I think the difference, and we talked about this pre-show, is, and I was going to ask you, but I think I told you, what's the difference between, where you were before and where you are now? And I said, I saw a huge difference that you just believed in yourself, right? You just visioned.
That's true.
And you work with a lot of companies, so I know my feeling on why people aren't successful in business, right? And I mean, for me, it's they just don't believe, or why they won't take that step, right? Why they won't get a mentor, why they won't, to me, people that don't get a mentor, I'll say this, and then you can give me your feedback, because you work with a lot of people now, and I saw it before, and at first I didn't think that I had enough in me. Like, who am I to coach somebody, right? Who am I to be their mentor? And I believe coach and mentor is two different things. Who am I to be either one of those? Like, what do I have? And it took me a little while to get my mindset right. So I have a mentor, and every mentor should have a mentor. If they don't, nobody's, you got to constantly be growing. Sometimes you have to change your mentor to get to that next level. But my mentor told me, he says, you're being selfish by not sharing what you know with somebody else. And it's not, you don't have to share it for free, but how can I charge them for it? And I didn't value what I had, right? So I wanted to give it away, but the problem is I did in the beginning, and it crushed me because everyone I gave it for free did nothing. I can't even remember one success story of anyone I've worked with, and I'm talking about truly mentored, not answered questions, but somebody I truly mentored for free. I can't remember it ever working. Right.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah. The minute we charged, right. And I don't consider it a cost. If somebody asks how much do you charge, I really don't want to even work with them, because it's not a cost. If you ask me what the investment is, because you're investing in yourself, right? You went to college, you probably paid for it. You're investing in yourself to become a better version of you.
I'll be paying for it the rest of my life, Dan.
Well, and it made you a better version of you. And you went for a degree in psychology, and it helps you understand people, right? So it makes you a better version of you. So you should invest in yourself. And if you don't value yourself enough, even like in your health, right? I love coaching people, and I've done a great job in health, and I'm really like digging deep, and it's really caught my interest because I want to just be, it's not about weight. It's just, I want to be healthier for the long term with my kids, my grandkids. And I want to coach people because I could help, as I help them in real estate investing and building wealth and their lifestyle, I can help them in health as well. So people that want to get healthy, but they don't want to invest in themselves, time and some money, they're just not going to do it. It's a shame because they don't value, like I always say to somebody, you're going to value my information for free, but if you invest in yourself, you don't value it. And that's kind of, and I'm very particular on who I work with now, as you are as well in business.
Yeah, you've told me that. Yeah, it makes sense.
What do you see? Like, I want to get you, because you're in the grind of working with different business owners now, and you see some that are probably really successful and have great people that follow them. You probably see some that are just terrible leaders and they just trip
Yes.
over their own feet. What do you see is going on in the industry there?
That is also a great question. And I have a lot of insights on that because I have worked with so many different companies over the years. And what I've seen that makes people more successful are a couple of things. Number one, you do need capital, period. There's just no way around that. You need to have the capital behind your marketing, and you need to know, you need to make sure good money goes behind good money. We don't want to put good money behind bad money, right? So we need to have capital. We need to have the right processes that actually work. You need to look at the people in your industry who are doing the things that are successful, and you need to emulate that and then improve on it, right? And having that inside track into what the successful people are doing is the value in mentorship and coaching, masterminds, et cetera. If you don't have that inside track on which systems are working, you're going to get left behind. And so even as long as I've been doing it, I'm always keeping my ear to the ground for new vendors and new softwares, because if every business person is getting a little bit better every day and I'm not, then I'm going to be the Blockbuster to the Netflix. So we have to stay humble enough to be ready to innovate, even though it's uncomfortable. It may hurt our ego. We may have to change all of our business processes. We may have to, and that is painful. There's the inertia. It's like we've worked so hard to build up this system that's successful over all these years. God forbid we have to change it, right? Because that's just too painful. Well, what's more painful is being left behind, technologically displaced. So we got to have capital. We have to stay on top of the processes technologically. And then third, okay, and you and I were talking about this before, the big one that I notice is people blame their people for a lack of success. And that is the biggest mistake I've seen. If you're blaming people in your industry or in your business for you not being successful, then those are the people that I can predict are going to fail, right? So I'm not saying other people don't have an effect on what we do, but it's our job as leaders to either incentivize them properly, or unfortunately, maybe find someone that we can incentivize, right? So like we were talking about, the difference between an employee mindset and a leadership mindset is everyone around me taken care of, right? Because if they're taken care of, then I'm going to be taken care of. So people who are successful in business, they're making sure that everyone who's contributing is being rewarded monetarily in an equitable fashion. So if you've got in our industry an acquisition manager who's killing it and you're not paying them on time, you know, when things close, you'll say, oh, you know, I'll catch you on the next closing or anything like that. You know, you've got to make sure that you're being competitive in your pay if you want people who are competitive in their output. And people try to be cheap. They try to be cheap with their employees. And that's just, you know, that's how you're going to lose good people. And that's what I've seen: a lack of capital, lack of processes, and a lack of compensating talented people.
Right. And we call it, yeah, I think we talk about it, I call it muling your employees out. But I also,
Yes.
I also had a conversation with somebody I was consulting with. I seem to get a lot of, obviously, real estate investment companies bring me in to consult. I get a lot of dentists bring me in to consult their practice for whatever reason.
Interesting.
Insurance companies I get to. For whatever reason, I get those that come in and they say, come out and consult us for 2 to 3 days and help my business. And what I did is, one is an accounting practice. And I worked with them. They were doing a great job in their practice. They were doing well, but the culture wasn't really a fit. I mean, they were doing well money, but you could see when I spoke to the employees, I could see that the culture wasn't the greatest in that organization. And I spoke to the owner of the practice. And here's the thing: like, you can be a CPA, you could be a great CPA, but you could be a terrible business owner. You could be a great dentist, the greatest dentist in the world, but you could be, doesn't make you a great business owner. It makes you a great,
that's true,
craft, right? So sometimes if you find that you're not a great business owner, hire a consultant, bring them in and let them handle that CEO service. Because just because your name is on the paper as the owner doesn't mean you should be the CEO of your company. I mean, that's the hardest ego gut to a lot of people. Well, I just remember this one story. It was about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years ago now. I worked with this CPA firm and they were doing great money-wise, but they were cranking away. And they wanted to get to another level. And I just felt like the employees were just like you were saying, they're grinding, and they just didn't feel bored. They didn't buy in. And they didn't tell me this, all of them, but you could just see it was like, hey, it's about, every time I talked to them, it was things like, oh, I make good money. It's pretty good here. I get to take off if I need to, that kind of thing. And I spoke to the owner and they said, well, we do quarterly meetings with our team. We get together with them and we talk about what's going on. And I says, what do you do those? And I says, oh, we meet with a certain amount of people every quarter in the conference room, different times of the day. And I said, did you ever think about just taking your team away to a resort and doing a quarterly meeting there? And they give me all the reasons why it wouldn't work. Well, I said, when I'm done, I give them a list of all, and I sit down with the owner, I give them a list of all the things I recommend. And they swore to me, they will do this every quarter now. They're taking their team away. They went the first time they went to Clearwater, they rented the resort. They had 40 something people. They said next time they're bringing their significant others with them if they want to. And they said they saw such a change in their office. And it was like, you know what? The owner, the accountant could have said to himself, it's just not worth it. It's too much money. I got to spend all this money on it. First of all, it's a tax write-off, and they know better than that. But
and again, they knew that.
Yeah. And once again, it's like what you said. And I was going to ask you, it's a cost or is it an investment? I see everything as an investment, right? It's an investment. Yes. I go out to dinner with my wife. It's an investment, right?
That's right.
You know,
it sure is.
I spend $100. It's an investment. It's an investment in our relationship. It's an investment in our lives. It's investment in her, and I'm honoring her. It's just, yes. I see things like that as an investment, right? And the reason I changed mindset a little bit from buying all those expensive cars is because those cars to me are a cost, because yeah, it was an investment in my happiness, but after like 3-4 months, I lost that happiness and it was just a cost.
Right. And the payments are still there if you financed it.
Exactly. And now I'm working harder, right? To work harder to keep up. And what am I really doing this for? It's so I can live my vision. My vision is to do what I want, when I want, with whom I want. I can't do that. I'm working 100 hours a week to keep up, to impress people. So anything that you probably see in these owners that are failing, they probably consider people like you as a cost, right? Not as you should be an investment. Like anyone that hires you, if I pay you $5,000, you should bring me at least $6,000. Right. I
have had people say, I can't afford you. I said, no, what you can afford are these people who are, calling for $3.50 an hour. I've listened to those calls. You might as well set that money on fire, because that's not going to convert at all. If I'm spending $3.50 an hour for, a cold caller who is converting nothing, or I can spend $10 an hour for someone who's doing an awesome job and I'm getting one lead per hour, which one actually costs more? The $3.50 an hour caller who in an 8-hour shift got 0 leads. Okay, this happened for a company I was consulting with yesterday. The guy said, build me out this system, right? And I listened to this caller for $3.50 an hour. And to his credit, it didn't take much for me to convince him, hey, we need to shift gears to a better company, someone that I know and trust. I'm happy to plug, Amber Calls with Love. I've brought her into my agency because she's so good. And I said, she's really impressed me. Let's go ahead and bring her team in. I was all about sticking to as little as possible in this budget, right? So we're going to get this cold caller for $3.50 an hour. So it all comes down to which one costs more, spending that money or not spending that money. Sometimes not spending that money costs a lot more. And I understand the hang up, because how do we know that this is really going to pay off and not going to be a hustle? So that's where I want to give people a little bit of credit for being rational. Is how do we know that somebody is going to be good versus not? We have to build a network and a branding, right? I had a guy today, give me his business credit card. And as we talked about, put money in my account. Why do you do that? Because he trusts me. Why does he trust me? Because he's paid attention to me like you have. I've built a brand and I've networked, and I spoke in front of an audience with him. So because of that association, he trusts me, and he should, because I take my fiduciary responsibilities extremely seriously, right? So that's why it's important that before I think we go putting ourselves out there, we are correspondingly building a brand as responsibly as possible. And I think you do a great job of that, Dan. I feel like you build a great brand that is very service oriented, and you don't you're not like some guy who's flashing, like you said, the cars and the watches and everything like that. I mean, we know you have nice things, but you make it about success as a community, right? And that's a great leadership quality.
And I appreciate that. And that's really what my, when I break down, and part of my process, and when I've mentored people, is break down. And my mentor did this with me, like, who is Dan? Who are you? And when you really dig down to who you are, a lot of people don't know who they are, right? Who are you as a person? Like,
right.
What are you?
True.
Like Jen, what are you? It's like, I'm a mother, right? That's probably first. I'm a God-fearing woman. I'm a mother. It's nothing in there. Your first part of who you are doesn't say, hey, I have a company. I'm a lead gen company. Like, that shouldn't be who. Like,
that's
Jen
true.
is. And I really, like, who am I? And I love mentoring. I love helping people change their lives. And that's really, I call it when someone tells me I just want to help people, well, then I call BS on them all the time. And I did it. I had a conversation with you about somebody I was talking with, and he said, I just want to help people. And I says, so why can't you help them? You can go out and help anybody. There's homeless people. You can go out and help them. I mean, if you want to help people, there's a lot of volunteer opportunities to go out and help people. Like, peel that onion back, right? Peel the onion back on who you really are. Who are you as a person? What is your vision? Like, what do you do personally? What do you do in your business vision? And that's what I learned through my mentors. Like, it's such a deeper level than most people. They're so superficial. When you ask them, when I work with any business, I really want to know who that person is, what their why is, okay, and what their vision is. And then, like I said, I watch them, right? I don't want to just jump in bed. And we talk about this and I laugh. And I mean, like, I could say this in this conversation because it's a business life. I don't just want to jump in bed with somebody.
Right.
On business, it's like so much, and we talked about this, it's at so much of a deeper level when you let someone jump in bed with them. It's not just, hey, like, a relationship. It's like, hey, we want to work with each other day in and day out. We want to serve you and honor you as best we possibly could, because in return, it'll serve us and honor us. And it's more, nothing here in my vision said, I want to be a millionaire. It wasn't part of my vision.
Interesting.
My vision is like, who are you? It's like, God-fearing person, you're a Christian, you're a father, you're a grandfather, you're a son, you're a brother, you're an uncle. I go down the line, and then it's like, I'm a coach, right? I coach football, I coach businesses. I'm a visionary, right? I'm an entrepreneur. And that's really, that's really who I am. So, and I say this because I had a situation, you'll appreciate this. Somebody came to me, it was probably about a year ago now, and they came with this great business plan. And it was a great business plan, right? To start a roofing company. It was this company, to start a roofing company, and they gave me, and I was jumping at it, right? Because we're talking about over $1 million gross a year, the way it looked. I was jumping.
Yeah, good profits in that business, I hear.
Yeah. And I was jumping at it, and I spoke to my mentor about it. And he says, why would you do that? And I said, well, it's a great opportunity, great partner. He says, but what in your vision says that you want to be a roofer? And I says, I don't want to be a roofer, but I'm a real estate investor. And think about it. If we get up on the roof and the roof is not, if it's fixable, we make money. If it's not fixable, maybe that person wants to sell the property, right? So we don't even have to do it. We can just refer it out to other roofing companies. And his answer must have been 10 plus times, what in your vision says you want to be a roofer? And I finally got it. And I understood afterwards. And you know what? I was chasing the money. Ultimately, I was chasing the money. And it went back to the whole process of, who are you? So when you work with people, and I see you're pretty good at it, right? You're better at most than like cutting somebody off if they're going to be a time vampire to you and they're not serious, or they don't have the same ethics and morals that you do. You're not going to work with somebody who says, hey, Jen, I want you to hook me up with leads where I could rip people off. Like, you would never, that's not, like, you would probably give them some choice. Like Jen's nice and she's great and she looks like, but you would probably give them some choice words that you don't want to even put on here if they were like, I'm going to rip somebody off, because that's just not who you are. So,
well, it's not a sustainable business model either. And from a selfish perspective, it just brings more regulation on all of us, right? So there are certain exit strategies I don't even discuss publicly because I don't want to bring regulation onto it. That a lot of people don't know of a certain types of exit strategies. And I feel like if more people knew, then the wrong people are maybe going to get a hold of that information. So if someone, wants to have me as a coach, then I'm going to tell them those kind of more creative exit strategies, because at that point I've got a feel for them and I can trust. Are they going to bring more government regulation on some of my favorite exit strategies? Because if they are, I don't want to tell them, because I don't want to have to deal with more. We're all dealing with more government intervention right now. And if you can find a space where you're not having to deal with, all rules, regulations, and more paperwork, that way you can provide solutions to your property sellers. It's not even about, like you said, me, it's about, can I solve this person's problem? And the more people who take advantage of those solutions by extorting people who are in a situation that truly where they need our help, then they do a disservice to our entire industry. They make us all look bad, right? So I don't want to deal with people that make us all look bad.
And we're dealing with that now. I mean, and I've been involved in this business a long time now. And thank God for people like Jeff Watson and John Heyer, who are,
yes.
These two, if you're not following guys, you need to follow them. Not only is Jeff somebody I consider a friend, definitely a trusted advisor to me, and a visionary in the industry. John is somebody I follow, I love. I don't really know him personally. I feel like I do because there's certain people, no matter what they do, I'll be all in with them. And Jeff was part of the whole seller financing coalition back when Dodd-Frank came out. And that kind of hurt my business a lot back then, because people were, once again, when the market got rocked in 2007, 8, 9, I switched to seller financing to owners because banks weren't giving loans to them. So I was selling properties to owner occupants. And I was doing a great job with it. And I was doing it ethically and morally. But what happened is you have people come in when it's easy money. They come in and they start taking advantage. Big hedge funds were taking advantage of sellers. And I specifically remember happening out of Baltimore. And all of a sudden, it had if you heard of Dodd-Frank,
yes,
the PB, those started. And that kind of killed seller financing to owner occupants. It's not, you could still do it, but the regulations are so heavy now that it made it not worth it, because I was seller financing properties to people who didn't have W-2s. They were contractors, they were realtors, they were landscapers.
That's right.
So they couldn't get mortgages. So I was helping them. So they made money. I was helping them. I never had to foreclose on any of them. I'm grateful for that. And then that came in place. So regulations hurt. It hurt the good people. So the good people are it's not even me. It's the people I was providing housing to. So then I went to investors, right? Now I'm seeing it because wholesalers are taking tremendous advantage of sellers, almost criminally. They're taking sellers' homes, putting them on the contract with no intention of ever being able to close.
I hate that, man. And I don't use that word lightly. I truly, truly hate whenever people don't buy deep enough. If you can't buy deep enough, refer it to a realtor, do some seller financing, get a hedge fund that's going to pay 70 to 80 cents on the dollar. Don't get it under contract for 70 to 80 cents under the dollar and then try to, hound your buyers list. Nobody wants that. Not with the way cost and materials are. If you're not buying between 50 and 60 ARV, don't wholesale it, because nobody wants it right now. They can't afford the low margins, for the cost of labor and materials.
We can get into that real quick. Why do you think, I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I want to talk more mindset, but why do you think people are jumping on those deals and writing contracts overpriced? What is your thought real quick on it? Especially with today, right? We're doing the show. It's now November 4th or 5th, I think it is. No, November 4th. We're doing the show today, and we just saw what happened to Zillow like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
They shutting down their online buying and laying off like 25% of their workforce. And it's just a telltale sign of things to come. Why do you think it's happening? Why do you think people jump on deals and overpay for deals? Like, what's your thoughts? I know I have mine. I want to hear yours real quick.
Well, thank you for asking. Because they don't have the teaching that I did, right? So if I hadn't had the great mentors that I had, to your point, I would honestly be in the same boat as them, just because, it's a sexy industry and everyone loves real estate investing. And that's where even, Arnold Schwarzenegger became a millionaire, and all these, people that even actors and actresses want to be good at real estate. It's even like in my kids' shows, the people joke, oh, now I have this money, now I need to invest it in real estate. These are cartoons, right? So this is a sexy, glamorized industry.
Mentor them. I wouldn't mind mentoring like Rocky Balboa. Maloney is one of my favorites, or like Chris Rock, or any is funny Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, bring me Brad Pitt, please.
I'll do it. Let's do it. What do we call that company? Hollywood invest. I don't know. We got to do something.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We're going to teach them all how to invest in, off-market residential real estate. And also everyone wants to, the commercial's very sexy too, are starting to come back, which is good. There's a lot of opportunities there, even in the retail space. So I think it's such a sexy industry, for a lack of a better word. And without proper mentorship, you're really going to end up in a bad way. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to name drop my best mentor, okay, in this industry. And that is, he does not bring attention to himself.
You know who you're
His name is Joseph Terrio out of New Hampshire. And he taught me, he says, Jen, you need to buy deep at 50 to 60%. And here's why. Now, he has one of the best wholesaling and dispo sites in the country with constant inventory. And again, he does not bring any attention to himself.
Can you do me a favor real quick after the show? Yeah. Just shoot me his, I'd love to, if you're saying he's good, I don't even know him. Well, it's crazy. And I'm in the industry.
He's not just good. He's the best. And I'm like,
well, send me his info after the show. I will tag him in the show notes to give him props, and I'll look him up. And I mean, usually I do tremendous due diligence before I do that. But if you're telling me he's good, I trust you like there's no tomorrow. And
he is the best. And I got to tell you, I mean, he put up with me whenever I was very ungroomed. Okay. I needed a lot of grooming, and he did the hard work with me, mindset and training.
Can I interject? And I don't like to interrupt, but when I know we're going to keep going, and I want to bring it back to something you just said that my alarm went off. And I want people to hear this. If this is might be the most important part of the show. It truly is, not who she's using. But when Jen just said he put up with me with my grooming and all of that stuff, the reason, and I'm saying this because I cannot tell you, I had somebody give me a nasty message yesterday on Facebook Messenger because
really,
I tried. They came to me with questions. I answered their questions over and over and over and over and over. Got on the phone with them, answered them. They never went to any of my trainings. They wanted to learn how to do hard money. I literally got on the phone with them, and I looked at the dates. This was almost 2 years ago now. We literally, for 3 months back and forth, I got on phone calls with them, 2 phone calls with them, didn't charge them anything for it. And they didn't take any action, right? They just complained the whole time. And what could I do now? And it's like, at this point, I'm like, it's really going to take a couple of months to teach you everything I do. And I put it all online. I'll give you the discount. Just go get it. And you're not even paying me. It's going to my marketing team. I don't even care about the money at this point. Like, go through, learn how to do it. And I got a nasty message from them yesterday, like almost 2 years later. You kicked me when I was down. You didn't help me. I had somebody else who was willing to help me for free, and the deal got done. Sometimes you should help people when they're down. And it really bothered me in a way that at first, right, it bothered me in a way. It was right after I spoke at the mastermind. And then I read it, and it was bothering me like how it was like a gut punch to me, right? I have to stop.
Yeah, for sure.
It was a gut punch because everything about me is, and I talked a little bit about, I didn't want to coach earlier because I felt like I couldn't help people. And everything I do is to help others, right? And I did help her, but I had to put the brakes on, right? Like the Flintstones, yeah, but I do put the brakes on, right? And I had to say, wait a minute, I did help her. Like, this is her garbage, not my garbage, right? She's she's projecting her negativity on me.
Big time. I'm willing to bet she's still not successful.
Exactly. And the reason I want to stop you is because you're like, I forgot his name already. What was his name again?
Joe Terrio.
Joe Terrio. Oh, I did hear of him. I just don't know him. So Joe actually worked with me, and he talked to me and helped me. The reason he did is not because everybody's green in this industry at one time, right? Everybody's green in the industry. And don't be scared to be green. Don't be scared to ask questions, right? People like us love when you ask questions, but you bring value, right? Bring value. Don't just, we understand people are starting out. But it's like, now what can you do for me? It's how can I help you help me, right? But you were a little different, right? It's not that you were green and he helped you out. It's because he saw your mindset, and I saw your mindset like a year ago. I don't know how long before that you've been out there, but I've been watching you at least for a year, and I saw your mindset. And we talk about our circles are very tight and who we work with. And it's funny how you and I kind of know a lot of the same people, and we've never even been in person together once.
That's true.
And we will, hopefully we get you to speak at our event. Hopefully I'm at events with you. And when I speak, and hopefully, I see you and I could build you up, and I want to see you come through, and you're a shining light on so many people. But that's why he helped you. And the reason I wanted to stop you is because I want people listening right now to understand you have to have the mindset that Jennifer Stewart has, and people will be a magnet to you. It's all about the mindset. It's all about your personality. It's all about how you present yourself on social media. And we talked about it. I says, I watched you for 6 to 9 months before I think spoke or answered your message or I don't remember. It was 6 to 9 months. And I was like, I think it was like, hey, maybe I don't know what you're doing, but I like seeing what you're doing. I like your work ethic. Is there anything we could do together in my business? And your ethics, and I mean, we're through the roof. You're like, I would love to, but I'm loyal to who I'm working with. That's how that got me. Like, I'm like, holy crap. Like, you don't see that. Like, you didn't even come to me and say, hey, pay me $10 an hour for my callers, pay me $2,000 a deal. You didn't say any of that. You're like, and I know now what you made before, which was ridiculous. It was they paid you. And, but you was loyal to a fault, to yourself. But, and that's why I wanted to just stop you. And I don't like to interrupt, but I want to stop you at that point.
Not at all.
I want people to see that if they can do anything, forget about this is not really a show on how to do the business, right? We did that in my mastermind, and people, if they're following you, just follow you for a little bit, they're going to understand that you're the real deal. It's about mindset. And that's what sets you apart from. So I'm talking about, there is not, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of people in this industry or call themselves investors.
Sure, there are millions. Yeah.
But there might be 200 or less that I think I would value in this business. And that's crazy that you're in Texas. I'm out on the East Coast by Philadelphia and Delaware, and, New Yorker. And, I think Texans and New Yorkers love each other anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Love-hate relationship, except for the Cowboys and the Giants. But
yeah, but we love coming to those games. Those are my favorite games every season for sure. I love when the New Yorkers come to Dallas, and we like to go to New York. So yeah.
I was there 2 years ago at the Cowboys game. We lost, of course, but I was there. What a good friend of mine from California who's a Cowboys fan. But I want people to really, really drive this home, to understand that if you show your mindset that you're going to, you believe in yourself, that you're going to be great. You're going to go from good to great. And I asked you that question about why do you think they do deals? And my answer to that is, and it's very similar to yours. Yours is just a lot deeper than mine. I think they think that they're successful if they do a deal. They're building their ego so much. And I see it because I see some of the people do. They think success is having a deal. They think putting on social media, hey, I got a deal, even when it's not a deal, makes other people say, rah, rah, good job. You're great.
That's right.
You got to look at it. Are you setting yourself up for failure? Right. Is it really do? You have to be, the best deals are the ones you don't do, because it's going to make
that's the truth.
It's going to make you that much greater. Like Jen, the best clients are the ones you don't take, because it's going to allow you to work with the ones that you should work with. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. And I learned that.
And I have, and the more experience you get, the more you do.
Yep. And I've learned that a long time ago. And that's why, like, this one lady, it was 3 months. And I finally had to say to her, like, no, like, my time, if I took all my time with you where it's not going anywhere and you're not helping yourself, well, I'm not to blame for you not helping yourself. I'm going to work with people who want to help themselves. And once again, we talked about it. And sometimes it's when people don't pay, they don't play. And I don't believe that all the time, but it's very, very hard to find somebody who values themselves enough to jump in. Because let's be honest, this business is not easy. And everyone out there puts it, it's easy.
It's a lot of moving parts and a lot of capital, period.
And it doesn't even have to be a lot of capital. And I'll say that because
it's true.
Years ago, I funded a newer investor who I believe was like you, male version of you. He worked his butt off. And I didn't do it right away. I watched him fall down. He would literally go on his own, knocking on doors, finding the phone numbers, calling himself, bringing me deals, me deals. And I was buying him he was wholesaling to me for, at the time, $3,000 to $5,000. And that's what the market was back then. They weren't getting crazy wholesale fees back then. And he just wanted to know he could wholesale me the deal and get it closed. But he was busting his butt. And I finally said, and he wasn't really even marketing because he didn't have the money. He'd get a little bit of money, put it into marketing, and then bust his butt. And this is a good 6 months to a year. I watched him. And I finally said, you know what? So why don't we do this? I'll put up all the money for marketing. You do all the work. And we'll split the deals. We'll split them at this
That's a good
percentage.
deal.
I get
That's
my
a good
money
deal.
back from marketing. So if I put 2,000 in marketing or 3,000 in marketing, that comes back first, and then we split the deals net. You do what you do. I'll always have the money to close the deals. You'll never have to worry, and you now can market, because I watched how he worked. I watched the value he brought. So did he make any money? Absolutely not. He just brought value. So if you bring value to somebody, Jen, you know this. If you bring value to somebody with money, and you could probably do this across the United States, you don't even need your own money. You could probably bring this to people across the United States and do it. And it's just a little, people will do that. But if you just say to somebody, hey, give me money to market, and you don't bring any value to them, why would they work with you? So you got to think, if you're a wholesaler and you want to get into business, you don't even need money, just bring value. And that's kind of what you did to Joe. I think he saw you.
Yeah, that's true. So to dig a little deeper into that story and give him credit, he had hired me to run a cold calling team, right? And so that's what I was doing. And where other investors would tell me, you can't do this, or I'd get in trouble for trying to educate myself. And why are you spending time learning this that has nothing to do with, what you're doing for me? And I would get in trouble. And literally, it reminded me of like in the chattel slavery in United States history, where slaves would get in trouble for learning how to read and write.
Right.
That's how I felt. I got in trouble for going to do things like masterminds, etc. And I really resented that. So I felt like Andy Dufresne in that movie where I'm trying to get out of prison, basically. And Joe was the one investor, okay, that I can remember. I'm not saying there weren't others. He's the only one that I can remember that I worked with. And he said, you can do this yourself. And I don't know how we're going to help each other, Jen, but I'm going to teach you how to do this. And I said, Joe, I need a little something to feed my family. Please just give me minimum wage and I'll do anything that you ask. I will get up early. And I did. I get up early, you did the 8 a.m. meetings and work until 11 p.m. to learn the business. Right. And that's what I did to Joe's. And so there were times whenever I said, Joe, I don't like this business. I feel like we're taking advantage of people, all that. And I was messaging him crying at 3 a.m. I mean, he's dealing with his dog dying and I'm being a total pain in the rear end, right? That's what I mean about digging deep and really caring about people. The next morning he takes a meeting with me and he says, Jennifer, we are not taking advantage of these people. These people can't sell their house any other way otherwise. Okay. Some of these people are crazy and can't handle doing walkthroughs. These people don't have money to fix up and sell their houses. You've got the wrong mindset. We're giving people a fair price for what their house is worth. And he went through all the budgets and showed me what it costs to fix up a house and what an investor that we sell our property to is going to need in order to make it worth their time. And he made the business make sense. And he made the mindset make sense. He made the numbers make sense. And I didn't believe in myself, Dan, to your point, because I'd been told by so many investors I'd worked for that I couldn't close. I couldn't be a closer. I was just a cold caller. And Joe said, no, we're going to get you closing virtually. And that's where Jerry Green helped me. We're talking about Jerry Green. I went to his virtual acquisitions training, and the little things that he's put together over the years made me go from, I don't know, maybe closing one a week if I was lucky, to on average one every other day to every day, depending on the marketing budget, right? So it's little things like that. I was a pain in the rear end who didn't believe in myself, but I wanted to believe in myself. I wanted to get good at what I was doing. And like you said, I wanted to help people, but I also wanted to help my family. So my degree's in psychology, but even if you're a really good therapist, you're only going to be making, I don't know, 70 to 100K. And that's like at the really, really tippy top end. So what can I do that still helps people, but I'm able to give my children the life that they deserve? And I decided that being in real estate investing, doing discount home buying was that, because I'm still helping distressed people like I would as a therapist, but I'm helping my family by making sure that they're getting the type of income that they deserve to have the future that they deserve. And whenever I'm talking to home sellers, Dan, it is a lot like what I learned in my degree in a therapy session. I'm having to be a great listener, an active listener, present solutions to problems, make things easy for them in the selling process. I mean, I go way far above and beyond what other wholesalers would do. Like I was talking to a guy that owns a PPC lead company yesterday. He said, Jen, I've got all these leads in these areas I can't close. So how can you help me? I said, well, what I do is when before I establish an area that's maybe in a tertiary or a secondary market, before I even start acquiring, Dan, I make sure that I have developed good property management in that area. Do you know why? Yeah, I'm sure you know why. Why do you think the first thing I do is develop a good property management team before I start acquiring in a virtual space?
They're your, I teach that in the group. They're essentially, they're your eyes and ears. They're your project manager. They're going to tell you exactly where you should buy, where you shouldn't buy. They're going to know who's the good contractors are. They're going to tell you what the rents go for in the area. They're going to tell you everything you need to know, because those are the people those are the properties they want to manage. So I teach my students the exact same thing. I said, meet with 3 property managers before you even the first people you can meet with is property managers. Forget the wholesales.
That's awesome.
Forget the contractors, forget the realtors. Call 3 property managers, go to investor groups, find out who they are and meet with them. Drive down there, meet with them. I said, in person, talk to them. Take one out to breakfast, one out to lunch, and one out to dinner if you could.
Smart.
Meet with them.
I like that.
They will give you your business model literally by that day. And I've done it. And I'm glad you asked.
That's awesome.
I've done that. And I actually did a mentorship with 2 people. We took a road trip and I said, pick the market you want to be in. And they gave me 2 markets. We did it. We took them for 3 days through 2 markets. And one of them bought 9 properties in 4 months. And now you see them on social media. They're going crazy. But yeah, a good property manager is everything for you. So that's my reason. So I know I went on a little tangent, but I love that you said that, because I actually mentor on that, on how to build one of my trainings, how to build a $10,000 rental portfolio in an emerging market. That's what it's called.
That is so cool. Well,
Yeah.
that's exactly why, is because that's how I build my buyers list. And otherwise, pretty much we're in a market that's hard to get buyers lists, right? Mm-hmm. So if I can find the cash buyers on PropStream who've paid cash in that area, right? But if I get them a property manager, then all of a sudden they have the capacity to take on more properties, right? And so that's what I was telling the guy who owned the PPC lead company, is that if we can build out, competent cash buyers who can handle volume, then we've created our own market. We've created our own demand. And many of the brokers, so all I got to do is find a broker. Okay, this is a proprietary tip I'm just going to put out there. You find a broker, and with every broker, there's someone in that brokerage who knows a property management company. But you don't just want people who are managing A-class properties, right? That's almost easy to find. You need to find a property manager that can handle your B and C class properties, because that's where a lot of your secondary and tertiary market rentals are going to be. Mm-hmm. So that's how you create a market. So what my point is, I try to go above and beyond what most wholesalers would do to make it easy for the sellers, right? But in order to make it easy for the sellers, I've got to first make it easy for the cash buyers. And some people have opposite opinions on that, but my opinion, I need to create a healthy cash buyer community before I even think about trying to approach the home, because I know I'm going to get good deals, or I'm not going to acquire one. So get the deals first.
Basically what you're doing is you're getting an open checkbook is what you're doing by doing that. So it's smart. You're not working in reverse, and you're going out shopping for your buyers. Is exactly the way you should do it. So if you know exactly what I want, so Jen comes to me, she knows exactly what I want. She knows she can focus her time and do and that's why we would be a perfect pair. And that I'm just thinking that range, because I could say I know what I want 100%. I'm like laser focused. This is the type of deals I buy because they fit my portfolio and they fit my investors that I sell a finance to, right? So I have a whole business model, different than most people, where we make some pretty serious returns on our money. And that's what's created our passive to prosperous wealth, right? It's not just rental, awesome. Sell a finance into investors, holding the note, helping investors. We help investors create wealth. So if I told Jen, hey, I'm looking for this, this, and this.
That's right.
She knows that she can go out and find this, this, and this. She knows she doesn't have to worry about, getting paid. She doesn't have to worry about somebody screwing her over and not paying her, or somebody not closing.
That's true.
Jen gets me this, this, and this, and this, this, and this market. It's a great, that's the business model you need to be with somebody. And when I say getting in bed with somebody, that's what I mean. Getting in bed with somebody who aligns with you 100%. And so many people don't do that. They go out there and they're like, hey, I'm going to try. They chase the dog, the tail chasing the dog, right? They're like shiny objects in them. They're like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. Yeah. Just do what Jen's saying. I mean, she said it like perfectly just now. She's like, figure out exactly what your people need and go out and do it, and go deep. Don't go wide. I always say, people are like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? So what's new, Dan? What are you doing now? And I'm like, well, I'm just pretty boring, to be honest with you. I do the same thing over and over again because it works, and you people
That's
like
true.
your Jerry's and your Jeffs and probably Joe, they do what works, right? They don't try like,
That's right.
I'm going to do multis this week. I'm going to do and I have mobile home park, but I don't, because it came to me, right? But I'm not out there.
That's cool.
I'm not doing assisted living facilities, even though I know it's a great business model. I'm not doing
Yeah, true.
rehab homes, which is my partner in North Carolina does them. It's a great model, but it's a business. I do
Yes,
Airbnb.
it is.
I do a couple Airbnbs. It's a business, great money, but I don't talk about it all the time because I'm laser focused on what I do. Is I create passive income, being the bank, and the way I do that is with taking properties, turning them into turnkey rentals in great emerging markets with great property managers, and then I help investors buy not just one but multiple, and that's the business model. And I know laser focused what I am. And there's all the people like Joe McCall. He's laser focused on wholesaling lease options, and people are laser focused on what they do. They do great. So
that's true. And we can't all do it all, right? It's like that
right.
old Bruce Lee saying, I'm more afraid of the guy who practiced one kick 10,000 times versus the guy who knows 10,000 kicks and only did it one time. Of course, I paraphrase. I don't think that's exactly how he said it.
We get it.
But it's true. And I'm impressed with what everyone else is doing. Like, Jennifer, why don't you have rentals with your knowledge? Like, why don't you do this? Well, eventually I will, but only for the purposes of depreciating, my active income, right? For tax purposes.
Right. Because for you, does it make sense to take away what your genius, I call you genius zone, right? Your genius zone, we know what your genius zone is, right? Setting up people, processes, and systems. That's your genius zone. I mean, I could put you into the roofing company. I could say, Jen, I need leads on my roofing company. I need virtual assistants to be calling these leads. You could be like, I got you, Dan, because it doesn't matter what you're selling or what you're doing leads on. It's people, processes, and systems, right? You get those three, it can work in everything. So now if I take you off that,
true.
Hey, Jen, you're good at this, but I don't have the time. So I want you to start handling like the project managers and the contractors and the property managers and the realtors. Well, now I'm taking you out of your genius zone and I'm muling you out. And when you mule people out, that's why I bring this up.
Great way to put it.
Mule people out and have them do everything, they don't do anything good. So I would hate, and I say this, I would hate to see you jump around because it's so easy to do it. And you're going to see other people doing well with flips. You're going to see other people doing well with rentals. But
I know that's a whole separate business model. I don't want to flip because it's going to slow me down in my wholesale acquisitions. Exactly. Now, if I had a whole other branch of a company that, maybe I put capital into and someone else ran it completely, that's fine. But I don't want to flip because that's slower than getting one acquisition across the nation per day. Like, that's what I want to focus on. I want investors who do flip know that I'm always going to bring them a solid, profitable deal. That's right. Awesome. I want to be like a trusted brand of discount home sources. Right. And that's kind of what Joe, if you go to Joe's website, right, that's what he has. And that is what I want to do as well, because if you have a trusted brand of discount, everyone's going to flock to you like, whoa, Jen, you got a deal? Like, where are your deals right now? Because it's always going to be solid. Right. And so that's what I want to build a brand around, not as the great flipper. And short-term rentals are awesome. I really love the high profitability with that. But that's not my specialty. Alicia Merriman is great at that. And she came to me last week to get me to help her with her first wholesale deal. But let me tell you, she is like the queen and the guru at doing the short-term rentals. So if I ever get one of those, I would come to her. But, all of these different things are their own separate businesses, Dan.
They really are. You gotta stay laser focused, and you gotta, what is your, once again, you told me before, I don't know if maybe it's on the show, you did say it on the show, is like what attracted you to what I'm doing is you sort of videos of myself. And
I wanted to bring that up. I did want to bring that up. Right. So can I tell that story about you and your daughter at the beach?
100%.
Okay. So I'm laying there one morning, I've got to start work. And again, it's, in this situation that I told you about wasn't the best in this particular employment situation. You know, I wasn't being treated with a lot of respect, but, you know, I was learning a lot, but I was really just feeling like, what am I doing with my life? You know, I'm very unhappy. I was very, very unhappy, even though I was learning a lot, because I didn't have that self-belief and I didn't have that freedom that I'd been working towards, right? And so I get on my Facebook, you know, and have one of those moments where my head is under the covers, it's dark, but I'm scrolling and I'm just not happy. And your video, like, you pop up on my scrolling screen there, and you're sitting on the beach with your daughter at sunrise, you know, and you're talking about mindset, like you can build your life however you want and it's up to you. And the sun is rising and you can hear the waves and your daughter is sitting there. And I'm like, man, why am I not sitting on the beach next to Dan with my son, having a cup of coffee, talking about what's going on in the market? You know, why am I limiting myself with my self-limiting beliefs? Because it's safe, because, yeah, you know, the bills are barely paid and I don't want to take risks. But seeing you there, I saw, my God, Jennifer, why aren't you doing that? You know, and so seeing that was a big catalyst for me and kind of taking that risk to something better, because I can always go back to work, God forbid, you know, if I failed in starting my own business. But thank God, and I will say thank God, I've been more successful than my wildest dreams. But it took a couple of months of not having any income. You know, it took a couple of months of, was I irresponsible, or worse, am I crazy for quitting my job, you know, as a mom providing for my family? But seeing your video kind of helped me focus on a vision of freedom. It's not just being at the beach and looking cute in a bikini or whatever. It's that quality time with the people that you really love and the freedom to sit on the beach with them at sunrise. I mean, that freedom, and seeing you do it really appealed to me and made me feel like I would be doing a disservice to myself if I didn't at least try to do what you were suggesting. And that had a deep impact on me. And so after I watched your video, I took my head out of the covers and I said, all right, we're going to start doing things a little bit. We're going to take some risks, and we're going to invest in ourselves in a different way than we have been before.
That's awesome. That is so powerful. I hope that resonates. Man, I do those videos and that's a blessing, because I do those and you know, I have friends that I'm like, yeah, you video it. And I'm like, man, it's going to change somebody. I know it. It's going to get somebody out from under those covers, and they're going to believe in themselves when they, you know, sometimes they just need that a little bit to believe in themselves. And, you know, for your kids and for you to believe in yourself, and that I feel like I had a part in that. I literally just got goosebumps right now. I mean, just take over my show. I have goosebumps, like, just talking about that. Because, man, we've been there. I've been there too, and I know that it's hard. It's a dark place when you don't believe in yourself and you got nobody there.
Yes.
For you. And we're in a world it's a very tough world to be in, because not our sphere of influence, our network, our family, our friends that we grew up with, they don't understand this, right? Unless
they don't.
It's and you're like the outcast, right? You go to these events and they look at you a little different, like, oh, he's too good for us now, right? He makes too much. So you drive these nice cars and you show up and you almost feel embarrassed because they look at you like, oh, you're too good for us. And we don't ever feel like that.
No,
but it's their own beliefs, their own beliefs about themselves that they try to like mirror onto us. And that's why I say you're going to be like a snake eventually. And I shouldn't even use snake. I should use something else, because snake sounds like snake. But I said, you're going to shed that skin of that network you have, because they just don't get it, right? They just, I say misery loves company. Like, I mean, how many times do you hear people say, man, it's Sunday. I hate to go back. I can't stay on Mondays, or thank God it's Friday. Like, to me, thank God it's every day. Like,
that's right.
I don't like is when it's miserable out. I love the warm weather. I love the sunshine. I believe in sundowners. I think I might have it. When it's sunny, I'm a whole new person. So
that's
I don't
right.
know what day of the week it is. You know, the only thing that stinks about the weekdays is my daughter's in school. She's not home. right?
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah.
Like I don't dread Mondays. I don't love Fridays any different than Mondays. I love every day because every day is a new experience doing what. If I don't like it, I change it. I have the ability to do that. But I
That's
tell
right.
people, like Jen got her head from under the covers and believe whatever happened.
Oh, I was sad too, man. I mean, it was like, I don't even know how to describe it. It wasn't like dangerous sad, like you were talking about your friend we won't
Right.
mention on the call.
Right.
It's nowhere near that, okay? But it was, my God, I can't keep living like this. And I saw no way to change it, right? I just didn't know how to change it, but I knew I wanted to, and I had hope that I could. I just didn't know how, right? And so it was like, well, let me start thinking of how I could. Let me start thinking about how I can do it, right? How do I start putting all these pieces together to be in business for myself? And it's not like it's easier. Now, that's one thing I want to distinguish. Being a business owner is not easier than being an employee, but it is more free. So if you have the type of personality like mine to where you're not happy unless you're free, being a business owner is probably your only option. So I just want to validate anyone who's listening right now and they're wondering, should I be a business owner? If you're miserable without freedom, like I am, then being a business owner may be your only choice. And so even though I have a lot more responsibility and stress, I'm actually a lot happier because I know that number one, I'm making a lot more money, so that helps. And number two, I have all the freedom in the world to say, I'm not going to take a client this week. Now, if someone's already paid me, I'm going to do what I need to do. But let's say I want to go to, Mexico with my family, then all I have to do that week is not take a client or let my acquisitions guy take over on all the acquisitions. Let my dispo person handle all the deals that are going through. And then I can take a quick, with WhatsApp, it's not like the old days where you go on an international trip and you got to check in with a one-way call from the phone in your room and hope to God it doesn't cost you $5 a minute. With WhatsApp, we can do business all over the world, for free, as long as you have internet access. So there's no reason you can't make a call or two and delegate. But if you've got a job, taking a vacation, it's requires someone else's permission. And I don't think humans are designed to live that way, Dan. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe most people are happy like that, but I'm not. I think it's why antidepressants are pervasive. This is coming from someone with a psychology degree. I know everyone has like their own brain chemistry, but I think if people felt free, there would be a lot less antidepressants. And I think it's like the number second or number third prescription in this country. Why is that? Because people don't feel free. The cost of living is high and wages are low. So how do we even that out, right? How do you even that out? Those are big questions. And those are tough questions.
They are. That's that we could have another 10 shows on that. But just on that note, real quick before we wrap up, it's so true. That's why in Europe they have like their siestas, and I was in Greece, and it's crazy in Greece. People, it's a financial demise out there. People are getting crushed. But you know what? I go to people's houses. We were there with a business person. We went to his cousin's house. They made dinner. It was great. You walk around, and at 10, 11 o'clock at night, little kids, 1-year-olds, are in the park on swings getting pushed. There's people
That's so different.
Well, there are chain smokers out there. There's no cancer. There's no crime out there. And it's in financial distress. Where else in the world? People are happy. They live their life. Even the clubs shut down when the last person leaves. There's no timeline. Like nobody's telling you what to do. And people don't work.
Amazing.
They don't work to live, right? They live and they work. But here, people work to live. It's like a grind.
Yes, to barely get by even. Right. Like, have you seen that like 60% of Americans couldn't come up with $4,000 if their life depended on it?
That's sad. That's
so sad. And that's why they're getting their insurance from their employers and they're taking it and they're getting antidepressants.
Exactly.
It's horrible.
So I know you're getting ready to leave for an event for this weekend.
I'm excited.
Way longer than normal, and I hope some people have stayed on because this is we should have probably broken the show up over 2-3 episodes because we can go on. You and I can go on for days with this stuff. Is there any parting words you have for anybody that either is about to get started, needs to believe in themselves, or is in the grind? Like, what can you give somebody with some parting words, and then we'll wrap it up?
You have to figure out what it is that makes you believe in yourself. For me, that's knowledge. So if I take the time to invest in my knowledge base, I'm going to believe in myself. For someone else, it may be being with the right people, losing weight, whatever it is, for you that keeps you from believing in yourself. Take time to invest in that, and your life will be so much better. Stop watching TV, whatever it is that you're spending time doing that you don't have to do. Start putting that time, and not to be crass, but let's say even your time in the bathroom, or even your time driving, if you're in the shower, listen to something that's going to get you where you need to be when you're driving. As one of my mentors, Connor Steinbrook, says, instead of listening to rap music, techno music, country, whatever it is, put on a podcast on 2 times and listen to it quickly. And just by doing those little things, your belief in yourself will start to increase enough to where one day you're going to be able to take that massive action that changes your life.
I love it. That is so powerful. In like 1 minute statement, that was very powerful. And guys, write that down, put it on your mirror, look at it. Once again, I'm going to have Jen back on the show again, because her and I get on, and we were on for 40 minutes before I hit play. Before I hit record. So I'm like, well, we got to record this thing. So right now we're literally almost at 2 hours. On our recordings, probably an hour and 15 minutes. And I try to keep it under an hour to preserve people's time, because, I know they're busy. And once again, they're probably listening to a podcast on their way to work, or driving their kids to school, or whatever it might be. We're in the gym. Listen, you could be in the gym, listen to this podcast, get a ton of, get healthy, get your mind right.
That's right.
Right? Get your vision right, all while you're at the gym. Listen to this thing 5 days a week. Once again, I'm going to ask you, please, so we can do more of these. If we come to the top of the list, we'll be able to do a lot more of these. Just share this out with at least 5 people that could help. Give us, if you believe it was a great show, give us that 5-star review. If you don't, give us that 5-star review anyway. I'm just saying, we like honesty. But once again, Jen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Dan.
I honor it. I honor your time. It's a blessing to have you on here, and to call you a friend. And have a great time of the show, and we'll speak again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dan.
All right. Bye-bye.